well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe B Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open and let's wake up the football gods here on this Monday and the beginning of legal tampering. In just 2.5 hours from now, NFL agents will be able to start talking to any free agent out there to start making deals that will be finalized come Wednesday. Wow. You may notice I'm wearing my code red Dallas Cowboys shirt because I don't know what to expect. I don't know what kind of Dallas Cowboys team we're going to be. I don't know what the hell, and I don't think Stephen Jones knows what the hell he's doing with the Dallas Cowboys. So today at 12 o'clock, we are going to start a live stream, Free Agent Frenzy. We're going to be down here in the Nerve Center. I have 5 monitors that will be in front of me. We'll be following Twitter. We'll be following the NFL Network. We'll be following the headlines because everything is being reshuffled in the NFL. The Cowboys think that they're going to be better without Amari Cooper. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because, well, let's face it, doesn't matter whether I give them the benefit of the doubt or not. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm hoping that maybe just somehow, some way, that the Dallas Cowboys try something different. We've seen bargain basement shopping. I've gone through. If you're a follower of my channel, you've seen the numbers. I've put my case out there to say that bargain basement shopping does not work. You cannot say, I'm going to pay 7 or 8 guys a boatload of money and then turn around and think that a $1 million guy here and a $2 million guy there are going to be enough to win a Super Bowl. It's not. You have to understand, with $208 million to go around for 53 guys, that averages out to only $3.9 million per player. And if you have one player that's getting $27 million, that's the equivalent of having 5 guys. You have to make it up on the other end by paying guys dirt cheap. And when you lose one of those guys, when you lose one of those premier guys like Michael Gallup, Randy Gregory, D-Law, and Amari Cooper, the talent you drop down to is such a drop-off that it will lose you games. And herein lies the fatal flaw of Stephen Jones. He overplays his big-name players, and he has to make up for it by going without. And whenever we lose a player or two, the play drops off. Teams like New England realize it's not about 8 or 9 great players and then crap the rest of the way. They realize I need to be able to use this whole roster. It's better for me to take, instead of having this super salary up here, that's a $27 million contract, maybe I'm better off having 3 or 4 guys that are $7, $8 million contracts. Strength in numbers. And that's where we have to kind of equate. Now, for me, we know that in past years, we all dream about big things happening for the Cowboys. And it's not like the Cowboys are really that far off. The Cowboys, had they had just a couple of better players in a couple of key positions, they could have weathered the storm. The biggest problem for the Cowboys had last year, running the football and stopping the run. All of that stuff comes from one place. It all starts out with the offensive line and the defensive line. And if the Dallas Cowboys can learn that, instead of always getting the sizzle, let's draft that, wide receiver. Let's go ahead and get those guys and things. Let's get the cornerback and understand it's the big nasties in the middle. Maybe the loss of Amari Cooper ends up not being so bad. Generally speaking, if you can give a quarterback 4 or 5 seconds to pass the football, he will find a receiver open. You can't cover for that long. If you can get a semblance of a running game that makes it so you're not just one-dimensional, if you can make some holes, even for an aging back, you'll gain some yards. And that's what the Cowboys must realize. Again, I know what the Cowboys will do in the draft. Oh, wide receiver. Let's draft a wide receiver first pick. And they will ignore the biggest problems on the team. I hope that what we do here is, instead of bargain basement shopping, bringing in guys that are coming off Achilles heel tears, cast-offs of other teams, guys that have never been, that they actually go through and decide, we're going to get players to compete. And you start that by getting not only a great Hall of Fame player in a Bobby Wagner, but also a guy who knows the system, that there won't be a learning curve for him, a guy who can be a field general out there, be it a player coach, as well as a mentor to what you hope to have as a future Hall of Famer in Micah Parsons. See, short-sightedness will look at the bottom line and say, this guy will cost $12 or $14 million. And what I've learned about everything in life, it's not about what it costs you. It's about what it gives you. You're paying $2 million right now for Keanu Neal, who's no longer on your team. You signed him to what, $4 million contract? Yeah, that was cheap. That was cheap. But what did you get from that? You got to replace it. Did Keanu Neal mentor Micah Parsons? Did he become the field general? Did he become the motivator for the defense? Did he become the leader by example? No. That's what you get when you bargain basement shop. It doesn't have all the bells and all the whistles. You put Bobby Wagner out there with D-Law, with Micah Parsons, and Randy Gregory, I won't mind so much if you turn around and get get a wide receiver. Because now you have not only plugged the hole, you have now made yourself better. You've made yourself stronger, because Van Der Esch, as much as I love Van Der Esch, the injuries have slowed him down. You can tell by the way he plays that he's worried about that neck. He's not selling his body out. As much as we all love Jalen Smith and the money that we spent on him, Jalen Smith did not have the physical tools with that bad leg. You'll see a difference when you see a Bobby Wagner, when you see a Demario Davis, guys that can play downhill, and when you need a stop, the guy is going backwards, not carrying you down the field 3 or 4 yards. That's where the Cowboys have to change the mentality, and that's why we're wearing the red shirt. We're hoping and praying that this is going to be something different than what we've had before. I can only hope and pray. I can only hope and pray. Also, too, why it just popped in my head, happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Eddie B. Eddie! Eddie! I want to talk to you, Eddie! Happy birthday, Cousin Eddie. And appreciate the support and you being a channel member. All right, so we all know Michael Gallup has been re-signed. Amari Cooper has left the building, and free agency starts today. Well, legal tampering starts today. Technically, it doesn't start until the league year, which is Wednesday, but it really starts today. In fact, I dare say it's kind of already started. You know, people have been hinting where they want to go and so on. I mean, how else do you explain that they say that Bobby Wagner, of course, that the Cowboys may not be his top destination, but they've had conversations with Dan Quinn? Isn't that legal tampering to kind of find those answers out? But anyway, be that as it may, I can at least say and hope and pray that it's actually following through. But the Dallas Cowboys have already done more than they've done in forever. They've at least picked up the phone. They gave Bobby Wagner a call. they've actually made a call to a big-name free agent for the first time ever. We've actually had the Dallas Cowboys one time on vacation the first week. They were in North Carolina all together, the family and stuff. The first week of free agency. That's how little they care about big-name free agents. So I don't know where Jerry Jones is. He has been incognito since we heard about the minor medical issues, since the lawsuit about his alleged daughter who's 25 years old. We don't know if we will see Jerry Jones or when we'll see Jerry Jones. I'm really actually kind of concerned about that situation and actually scared to death because I worry about Stephen Jones taking over as the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. My only hope for the future generations of Cowboy fans is when Jerry Jones is gone, that Stephen Jones actually just goes into the role of being the mouthpiece of the Dallas Cowboys and is just the owner, and that he actually has enough sense to actually say, Will McClay, you are the GM. That is my hope. If Stephen Jones is going to be the money man and GM, we're screwed. So let's go ahead and listen to Total Access with the breaking news or the latest news from yesterday.
Back, Tom, I'll get you in a second here. But, Ian, yesterday or on Saturday, you and I were together. You actually had the news about Amari Cooper getting traded to the Cleveland Browns from the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas not done. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, another big receiver move by the Dallas Cowboys. This time, not trading away a receiver, but signing their own. Michael Gallup, sources say, has agreed to terms on a 5-year, $62.5 million contract, so more than $12 million a year for Michael Gallup. Now, the Cowboys lock him in long-term and keep a key piece of their receiving core, and they went a lot younger. In the end, may not go a ton cheaper. This is an expensive deal. We'll see if they're able to keep Cedric Wilson as well, and then they have C.D. Lamb, a #1 receiver, coming up on an extension about a year or so from now. But for Michael Gallup, they keep him long-term, and consider the fact that he's coming off an ACL tear, and the Cowboys are so confident in his rehab that they give him a long-term deal. This is a big day for Michael Gallup. And for the Dallas Cowboys and Gallup, this deal was a long time coming, and finally today it gets done.
Yeah, $62.5 million just for point. The Dallas Cowboys, one of those teams not shy about making moves. Saturday, they traded a major piece of their offense, wide receiver Amari Cooper, headed to Cleveland in exchange for a 5th-round pick. The teams actually swapped 6-rounders. What's left on the horizon in Big D, Jane Slater's got more.
Thanks, Mike. Well, the Dallas Cowboys have been busy in the last couple of weeks, whether that be restructuring the contracts of players like Dak Prescott or Zach Martin, or ahead of the weekend, releasing players to give themselves a little bit of cap relief. The biggest came in the way of executing a trade with the Cleveland Browns for wide receiver Amari Cooper. That move alone gave them $16 million in cap space. Now, they're not expected to use that money to go be major players on the free agent market. Instead, they are trying to keep some of their own. The big one, wide receiver Michael Gallup. They've also got to figure out what to do with offensive lineman La'el Collins. They did give his agent permission to go seek a trade, and as for defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence, well, they offered him a pay cut, which he refused, so we will see what his future looks like in Dallas here pretty soon.
All right, Jade, let's take a closer look here at some of the salary cap moves here, the financial moves that the Cowboys have made. Besides that trade for Amari Cooper, they've restructured the deals, which has helped to clear more than $26 million in cap space, which doesn't include the $16 million cleared after the Cooper deal. All right, joining us for a little bit more on what the Dallas Cowboys are doing, Ian Rappaport is with us right now. Ian, what can you tell us about the move that they just made in terms of their wide receivers?
Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys have just agreed to terms with Michael Gallup, one of their star receivers. He gets a 5-year deal worth $62.
Okay. Let's go ahead and end it right there because we already got that. All right, so that's where we are here, guys. Free agency starts in 2 hours and 18 minutes, and we'll see how many of our former players end up going elsewhere. The thing that bothers me so much is right now we're not sure that Jaron Kearse is going to be re-signed by the Cowboys. He may end up being, because of the season that he had, too expensive for them to keep. And I have to go down the list, but if that's the case, since our Brian Aguilar is deemed too expensive, our punter, who was the Pro Bowler, and if we end up losing Jaron Kearse, I think the only free agent that we're actually going to hold on to at the moment would be Terrell Basham. It's not a great track record of bringing in value picks. And this is where I think Stephen Jones needs to realize that there's strength in continuity, that you can't just keep plugging in new player after new player and think that a defense is going to be consistent. And this is the problem with the philosophy. But, hey, I've got a few things I need to do before we get ready for our live stream. Like I said, we're going to start out at 12 o'clock, and we're just going to be rolling all the way through. I've got to set up my workshop so that way I've got a camera in there, and we can go up there if I need to put on another coat of stuff on things that I can do that as well. So I've got to actually get the house together. I guess in a way this is going to be like the Truman Show. We're just going to be following me all day long. I'm Mark Holmes, and you know how we roll. Hey, welcome to the madness that is Free Agent Frenzy.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe for the Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
See you guys here soon.